whey and casein protein. And now this is kind of the not like a one or the other type deal, but it really falls under kind of what your preference is. Both are advantageous. They both kind of do different things though. So let's talk about that. So we talk about whey protein now. I think the only kind, yeah, I only have whey protein, so I have these little cool little sample packs. I do recommend these. These are actually kind of nice. But I'll talk about my preferred protein powder in a second here when I talk about the other kinds of protein. But yeah, this is going to be your general whey protein. Basically what whey is it's derived from milk. It's basically, if I have this right, it's like when you curdle milk, it's like kind of the byproduct, especially like when you're making cheese. That could be casein. It's one or the other. Either way, it is derived from the process of creating that dairy. So it is animal based. It is an animal protein. So if you are on a vegan diet, it's not going to be as easy to just, pop in whey protein, but I'm going to talk about alternatives to that in a second here. But if you are on just a regular diet, you've got whey or casein to choose from. What whey does and why it differs from casein. So we talked a little bit last episode about protein synthesis, right? So that's the process of building muscle, essentially, the biological process that your body does to build muscle mass, and we call that protein synthesis. So what whey protein is going to do during this process is, obviously, when you consume protein, it's going to be using that protein during that process, and it's going to elevate your levels of protein in your body, which is going to help maximize and optimize how efficient that protein synthesis is when it's building your muscle. So the advantage to whey protein is how fast it kind of digests. So if I wish I put together some graphs here, but if I were to just kind of illustrate basically how whey protein works, is it's fast acting, so it's great for maximizing that protein synthesis, which I talked about the muscle full effect last episode, but to recap, there's a certain period of time after your workout where it's most optimal to be in that protein synthesis stage. So if we are trying to target that muscle full effect, whey protein is going to be great for that, simply because when you ingest it, your protein levels go basically way up. And then the only problem with that, though, is about after 3 hours, they just drop right down. But it is very fast acting, like it just shoots right up. It's going to help maximize. I'm just going to keep calling it PS because honestly, I can't say synthesis over and over and over again. It's screwing me up. So I'm just going to call it PS. So it's going to maximize that PS, right? That is the advantage to whey protein. The other thing that you get in whey that you don't necessarily get in other kinds of protein is, we talked a little bit about amino acids, and to break it down, amino acids are the building blocks of a protein, essentially. And we talked about the nine essential amino acids, and of those 9, which I actually want to talk about in a separate point here, we have what are called branched chain amino acids. So your BCAAs, on a lot of protein powders, you'll see that, say like however many grams of BCAA. So that is your leucine, your isoleucine, and your valine. So those 3 branched chain amino acids, they're just called branched chain just because of the chemical structure of basically how it looks. But the one to focus here on is going to be leucine. So leucine is that one that's going to be very effective for building muscles during that PS process. And in whey protein, leucine is going to be found in rather high amounts. That's kind of what it has over other protein supplements, is that high amount of leucine, which is going to be good for promoting that PS. Now, the other kind here that we have that I don't actually have, because honestly it's kind of hard to find unless you go to like an actual supplement store, is going to be casein protein. Casein, however you want to say it. The difference here, and I think David can attest to this, like it is difficult to find casein if you're not specifically going to like actual supplement stores. Most people just, like, if you're getting your protein from the grocery store and whatnot, like, you're probably not going to be able to find casein protein. What casein...
For the most part, like, I've only ever found casein online.
Yeah, it's difficult. Like the general one that almost all people are going to be using is going to be that whey protein. But if you are looking for casein protein, what casein is going to do is almost opposite to how whey is digested. So casein is a slow digestion. So what that means is it's not going to give you that immediate spike in protein levels. It's going to kind of just go up and then kind of go in that medium range over a longer period of time. So to kind of visualize that, what that's going to be is you just basically have more protein in your body for a longer period of time rather than just a sharp spike. That's going to be available for that protein synthesis. PS, I hate that word, PS.
So yeah, protein uptake.
Which, yeah. So that's going to take around, it's, I would say like 4 to 8 hours of being in your bloodstream before it dissipates, which is going to be optimal for decreasing protein breakdown. So if we talk about protein synthesis, we want whey. That's going to build muscle. If we want to sort of counteract our muscles from breaking down, we want to keep that protein in our bloodstream for as long as we can before it dissipates through our blood. Then we want to go through casein. And the easiest way to take casein is, it's even better if you are a late night exerciser, because you can just take it before bed. You wake up in the morning, like throughout your sleep, you've had elevated levels of protein in your body. The only difference is you don't have too much of that leucine, right? But again, in terms of, like, there's different studies on how effective casein versus whey is when we talk about building muscle and muscle mass and that protein synthesis. I don't know why I keep saying it. But yeah, there's different varying things that people talk about, but for the most part, my own suggestion would be, if you are going for building muscle mass, is like you want to take that whey protein directly after a workout. You're going to get that muscle full effect. You're going to maximize PS and hopefully build some muscle out of it. I mean, that's the mechanical way of how it works. If it's not working, then you probably have another issue here. But for the most part, when we talk about protein powder and using it to build muscle, you want to be using that whey protein after that workout, and it's going to last for about that 3 hours when we have PS occurring.